The ancient Egyptians liked to be clean. Hygiene was very important to them, and often this involved shaving their hair. Priests particularly shaved their heads. The ancient Egyptians called them wab, which means clean or purified. But there was also fashion in facial hair. And around 2500 BC, it was popular for men to sport a small moustache, such as this one. We have the representation of shaved faces, shaved heads, but we also have the archaeology that has yielded razors with wooden handles and metal blades. This one has a bronze blade. There are certain toilet items that survive from ancient Egypt that confuse us slightly. Objects like this one are sometimes referred to as hair curlers, but perhaps they're more likely to be mini razors or tweezers for more delicate hair removal. Certainly, the ancient Egyptians are represented with their own hair sometimes. This gentleman is clearly older and balding. His hair is fluffy. On other occasions, although very rarely, the ancient Egyptians are represented with white hair or greying hair. There are prescriptions on papyrus for alopecia, to prevent hair falling out, and also to prevent hair greying. We find 2 recipes for washes to make hair grow thicker and stronger. So people clearly cared about the appearance of their hair. We see hair was significant to the ancient Egyptians when mourning the deceased. In fact, the ancient Egyptian word for mourning has a hieroglyph of 3 locks of hair. The goddess Isis was believed to have cut off a lock of her own hair when she mourned the death of her husband Osiris. And the cutting of a lock of hair may well have been common in mourning. We see wonderful vignettes of ordinary people attending to each other's hair, braided in plaits. It's clear that the role of hairdresser was important in ancient Egyptian society. It's hard to tell whether this woman is attending to the grand princess's wig or her actual hair. But it's quite clear that various hairpins were used in presenting fashionable hairstyles. And it's certainly the case that wigs changed according to the fashion of the time. The wig was clearly a high status symbol. They were either worn over shaved heads or actual hair, and in fact we can see Nofret's hair peeping out from under the front of her wig and diadem. As today, hair extensions were popular, false plaits and curls. The basket here is full of hair extensions. Plenty have survived, some thick, some extremely fine, sometimes with their ends neatened by singeing. So the braided hair we see on this woman were very likely a wig or hair extensions. The wigs themselves survive. They're made mostly of human hair, with many plaits and curls. And very often we know that the ancient Egyptians both decorated their hair and wigs, but also scented them. These women have cones of scented fat on their heads.